a more of a very strong elite mob that's pathing around to now it feels like it's an AoE fest. Almost all of the in-game instances now it's grab 15, 20 mobs, everybody AoE, everybody AoE. Is that going to be a continuation going forward where it's more AoE focused, or are we going to see a chance for some classes to really shine at their single target DPS and non-boss encounters?
Sure. Definitely there was an evolution towards AoE DPS, especially in 5-player dungeons, where a lot of people, they just group them all together and go to town. As you mentioned, it's not just an issue of single target DPS, it's also an issue of crowd control. We actually gave most all the classes some form of crowd control, and then most players stopped using it because they didn't need to. There will be some adjustments on our end, on the encounter team. We will provide a little bit more casters. A lot of the dungeons had a preponderance of melee mobs that tend to group up and make it easy to AE. We also will adjust the raids as well. I mean, any ads fight will lend itself towards AE, but there are boss fights. We do try to provide that variety to have boss fights that are more about single target DPS, just working on the one boss. So classes that specialize in that can shine more.
One of the things I noticed is that at this point, Nefarian, Ragnaros, Onyxia, they've all come back, and that we've already done Naxxramas again. That leaves one big 800-pound bug in the room from the leftover old 40-man instances. I'm just wondering if there's any plans for the Silithid threat.
We currently don't have any plans to beam back on Courage at all, or Cthulhu. But I think you bring up a good point, and one good thing to mention here is that Onyxia was definitely brought back with just an update, whereas if you look at what we're doing with Blackwing Descent, or if you look at what's happening with Ragnaros, those are going to be completely brand new instances, new bosses, new fights. You won't see anything from the original stuff there. They're brand new. So definitely they're influenced by that stuff, and we want to carry that story on. But for the players, we want it to feel just completely like brand new content. From the mountain.
Hi. Yes, in the mountains. So a lot of hardcore raiders feel like Sunwell was really the pinnacle of that hardcore raiding with Muru and Kil'jaeden. We understand that Muru especially was too hard, too much of a gateway boss. And that's what hard modes were supposed to represent in Ulduar, is things that the hardcore raiders could do so everyone else could still see all the content. Are the nerfs and the tune downs that you've brought what you wanted hardcore or hard modes to be initially?
Tuning is always a pretty tricky thing. We definitely, as you said, we definitely want the normal modes to be super accessible. We tuned some of those fights in Ulduar were actually too hard for normal modes, so we tuned those down. Some of those nerfs affect the hard modes as well, so that happened. We're also just constantly looking to see. We do want the hard modes to be beaten as well. We don't make content for not to be beaten. You know, people thought that Yogg plus 0 was unbeatable for a while, and then it suddenly got beaten, and we were very happy.
Yes.
So we're really just sort of looking again. We're always looking at feedback, seeing how players are doing, what they're thinking about an encounter, and we're actually playing the game as well. Like, we'll go in and do it, and sometimes things on the ground don't seem quite what we thought they'd be, so we make small adjustments. We're really just sort of committed to making sure that it's doable, it's fun. The hard modes are hard for the players that want to do the hard modes, and the normal modes are there for everyone to do so they can see all the cool content.
I think it's important to note that the hard modes, the way they work now, definitely aren't set in stone. It's definitely a little bit of a moving target. I think you've seen us try a couple of different things with hard modes, and we definitely want to find the one that works best. Just because we might have had one way that they worked before doesn't mean we won't try to change them and make sure that they fit the way we want them to work.
Yes, hi. I'm currently in Cuties Only, ranked 3rd US, 11th world. I had a question regarding like attunement quest lines, and if there's any plan to bring those back similar to the original Onyxia quest line for attunement, or even like BT High Jaw quest lines.
It's a possibility. It's something we occasionally talk about when we bring up a new raid dungeon. For the most part, we've sort of gone more towards the let's let people see content. But then if it's the right place and the right time, you might see something like Crusaders Coliseum, where bosses unlock every week. We've got there's various mechanics we can use, whether it's entertainment quest and so forth. Really, it just comes down to what's right at the time. And we have sort of gone more towards the let people see the content as soon as possible. Because we know people play with a lot of alts. You know, it's cool the first time, but maybe it's not cool the second, the third, the fourth time. So that's sort of where we are with attunements these days.
Hi. With the story of Arthas finally coming to a close, are we going to be treated any sort of special cinematic when he's defeated? Because he deserves so much more than the typical beat him, he falls on the ground, says a couple lines. Is there anything special that you have planned?
100%.
Yes.
It's going, I mean, when Metzen was up here earlier, I think he kind of tried to prelude to it a little bit. It's going to be awesome. I think there's no way that you guys are going to be disappointed. We put a lot of work into sealing up the storylines that are happened across Icecrown, and you're definitely going to see that when you play through the raid.
How extensive is your internal raid testing? And did anybody internally kill Yogg 0 pre-nerf? And what type of challenges are the Coliseum hard modes going to be presenting compared to Old War hard modes?
Sure. For the 10-player instances, we actually we round up designers. Do that just like I was talking about how we have, like, the encounter team is 5 people, so we do all the dungeons. We actually try to do the 10-player raids as well. We grab people like Corey, other leads, other, like, hardcore raiders to try to get, like, their opinions on it. For 25 players, it's hard to get 25 designers together, but QA does actually do all those raids. They also do the 10-player raids as well. It's pretty much so impossible for a group of QA to reach to the overall skill and coordination level of the best guilds in the world. So no, QA didn't do Yogg 0. They got spanked pretty hard by Yogg +4 even for a while. But the feedback is still, we actually sort of treat QA as more like not a top-notch guild, but their feedback is important because there are guilds who have the skill level of around our QA. So when it comes to the harder stuff, that's where we try to, like, rely a little bit more on PTR. There is, of course, bug testing that goes on with that to make sure it all works. But then to answer the second question, as far as hard modes for the Crusaders Coliseum, I don't think you'll see those to be as hard as the hardest Old War ones. Something we sort of started to realize about just player skill in general is that there's this huge spectrum of skill. You've got the very best guilds in the world where Yogg +0 really pushed them. Memoron before some of the nerfs with Firefighter. But there are a lot of people that want to do hard modes and probably could do hard modes. They were able to do hard modes in the beginning of the instance. They want to do that stuff hard. They want to feel good. They think they're, really good. So we're probably not going to do it quite so hard as Yogg 0 anymore. We'll push it back. But there'll still be a huge leap up from the normal modes.
All right, we have about 5 more minutes left.
Shout out to JetX of Impossibility and Thorian Brotherhood. My question is, you mentioned that we'll be going to Vashir, and there are 2 dungeons there. Are there any plans right now to expand to Nazjatar or see an Azshar encounter, or will that be farther in the future?
Yeah, currently there's no plans to go to Nazjatar for this expansion. I think storyline-wise, you're going to hear more about that, though, throughout the through playing through the Sunken City storylines, as well as the quest lines that will be in the Abyssal Maw dungeons. You'll definitely learn more about that. But that content doesn't necessarily fit exactly what we're doing there right now.
I'm a really big fan of the dragon fights, and it seems you guys are too. Our guild actually serves Alexstrasza, so when she showed up in Wrath, it was a big deal. Malagos fight was a big deal. I'm curious if Sartharion is getting lonely in Wormrest Temple.
We'll see.
Possibly.
Hello guys, I have a question about you bringing back all raids and dungeons, like you brought back Annexia, and introduced the new items, the old items that you upgraded. Is there a possibility that with the old raids, hard modes might reward you with the old Tier 2, Tier 1, maybe Dungeon Set 1, Dungeon Set 2 looking PCs, like that?
Something that's come up, you know, we've talked about it. I think it just comes down to what we think would be most valuable to the players. Is it worth the time to go back necessarily to AQ, for instance, and convert it to a 1025 and all the loot? Maybe one day it would be, but I just think for us it didn't necessarily fit what we wanted to do for this expansion right now. But I think it's never out of the question.
Yeah.
I mean, it's open.
All right, I think that's all the time we have. Sorry, guys.
So close.
Please, I know.
It's so
Please
far.
thank our panelists, and also join us in this hall for StarCraft 2 lore, and in
Thanks,
the next
guys, for
hall,
coming to
Hall
BlizzCon.
C, for the World of Warcraft class panel.
All right, we are back here on the live stage, DirecTV's uninterrupted coverage of BlizzCon 2009. I'm Jeff Keighley here with Kat Hunter. And Kat, we are getting into the final stretch of BlizzCon here, but there's a lot of news still to go. We've got the tournaments, we've got the winners of those going to be determined, $200,000 on the line. We've got Ozzy Osbourne live in concert later tonight, and you guys will see that on the internet stream and on DirecTV pay-per-view. And also a big panel coming up at the bottom of the hour. It's the StarCraft 2 lore panel.
Right.
Mike Morheim hinted earlier what I had heard, that there may be some special announcements about the voice cast in StarCraft 2. Maybe some celebrities. We'll have to see what is in store there. That will all be going down at the bottom of the hour right here at 2:30 p.m. Pacific, 5:30 p.m. Eastern. And we'll be airing that panel for you here on DirecTV, so make sure to stay tuned for that, Kat.
That's right. And Jeff, not only are we in the final stretch of the day, but we are in the final stretch of the IGN Top 10 Blizzard Games Countdown.
Of all time.
Of all time.
Have we figured out how many games Blizzard has done? Because I think Blizzard's only done probably 15 games max,
We
right?
probably only have a couple games off the list. To bring you up to date real quick, we had Lost Vikings, World of Warcraft, Lich King, Warcraft Orcs and Humans, Diablo 2, Warcraft 3, Reign of Chaos, and number 5 is StarCraft.
Drumroll, please.
Brood War. StarCraft,
Really? A StarCraft
Brood War.
expansion, okay.
That is right. That is right. So, got 4 more to go here.
4 more to go.
but,
You're just going to have to stay tuned, Kat, right?
Stay tuned. It's exciting. Every minute there's something new and exciting on this show.
There is a lot going on. I think Ozzy tonight is going to be fantastic.
Yes.
We've got 45 minutes with Ozzy, but there's some other great things that are happening around this Blizzard convention. These fans take it very seriously, and something very special happened here today at BlizzCon, and the DirecTV cameras were there to show it to you. Let's go now to see something amazing that just happened on the BlizzCon show floor. I don't want to spoil it for you, but love is in the air at BlizzCon. Let's take a look at this.
Here we're out on the floor, and we're day 2 BlizzCon 2009, and we figured we had a couple panels yesterday, and we wanted to get some fan reactions. We got fans coming from all over the globe. Where are you guys from?
Sudbury, Ontario, in Canada.
Same thing. And how far did you guys come?
We're from San Marcos, Texas.
San Marcos, Texas.
I came from Los Angeles, California.
Oh my God! So we have people from California all the way straight through to Canada. What brings you to BlizzCon?
Blizzard, it's the greatest games.
First time I've ever been to BlizzCon.
So this is your very first BlizzCon. Is it your very first BlizzCon?
It is.
And what's your name?
Tyler.
And your name?
Chrissy.
Tyler, I heard a rumor that you have some special news today.
I do. Chrissy, I love you so much. You are the most amazing woman I've ever known. There is nothing I would rather have than have you spend the rest of your life with me. Will you marry me?
Yes. Bastard.
You saw it here first, guys. Kyle just proposed to the love of his life here. I did say Tyler.
Something very special there, a proposal And she said yes right here at BlizzCon 2009. Great to see the fans.
I teared up a little bit right there.
That's something special, right? That's good to see. People take BlizzCon seriously. All right, we are back here on the desk, and now joining us is Jeff Chamberlain, who's one of the key guys in the cinematics department at Blizzard. Jeff, it's great to have you here. But first thing I got to ask you, we didn't really see a lot of new cinematics from you guys in terms of the big rendered pieces in the